kind of went outside my comfort zone on this one. You see the eyeballs? Like, this isn't stuff I do on an everyday basis. I did it for you. I compiled an entire face of products that at one point or another a lot of people were raving about, and you know, at that time I also really wanted to try them, so I purchased these products. But then they've kind of fallen by the wayside and you really don't hear too much about them anymore. If you guys have been a part of this beauty community for any length of time, then you'll know these products do not stay in the limelight very long. Give them like a couple weeks, some of them maybe a few months, and then it's on to the next thing, on to the newest thing, right? New releases are being pushed out all the time, so it's really hard to kind of keep our focus on anything for too long because these brands are constantly pushing product. It's nice every once in a while to kind of take a step back and just enjoy what you already have. Enjoy playing with the products that are already in your collection. The stuff that I'm using today is stuff that a lot of other people were really excited about, and you know, we heard a lot about in the beauty community, and then nothing. Haven't heard a thing about it. Or, you know, it's very sporadic. People aren't really using these things anymore. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to know what I use to get this crazy colorful look on my eyes and the rest of my face, keep on watching. Alright, so who remembers the Cover FX Gripping Primer? This one hasn't been out that long. This one's only been out maybe a few months. It's a good primer. It's very overhyped though. I feel like it says it's a gripping and firming primer. I've heard several bigger name YouTubers do reviews on this. I know Tati did one. I feel like, did Raw Beauty Christy do one? She might have done one. But regardless, this one was a very hyped up product and really don't hear anybody talking about it anymore. I mean, for the most part, most of the bigger YouTubers will do reviews and do a lot of like newer makeup type videos, so maybe that's why we don't hear too much about this. But this is what I'm using in today's video. So we're just going to go ahead and start applying this all over. You know what? I should have put my hair back. I didn't think that through. This one's odd because it has a very tacky finish to it after you get everything on your face. It kind of feels like you're rubbing glue on your face. It's very strange. I don't know if it actually helps keep your makeup on longer, but just because I have oily skin and a lot of makeup doesn't last long on me anyway. But that's what we're using today. It does give you kind of that glass skin effect because it makes your skin super shiny. Alright, we're going to go ahead and dive into foundations while this primer's trying to set on my face here. This is the Luminous Silk Foundation from Giorgio Armani. This is one that I heard a lot of people talk about quite some time ago. It's been a while since I've seen people use this on their channel. Every now and then I'll see like an Instagram post or something and someone's using this foundation, and there for a while it was just super hyped up. A lot of people were raving about this one. I am going to mix it in with a couple of other foundations that were pretty like hyped up. The first one is the Cover FX Power Play Foundation. This one got a lot of great reviews. It is a good foundation. I do like it. And then the other one is the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie Foundation. This one's fairly new. A lot of people that have reviewed this have had positive things to say. This one's a little too dark for my skin tone because I bought it online. So I'm going to mix that in with these two here because I do want it to be a little bit more in between the satin and matte. I want it to be right in the middle there. Let's attempt the brush. I'm going to be using the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. It's my favorite foundation brush of all time. And I feel like this is going to be way too light for me, but we're going to warm it up with a bronzer anyway. Hopefully this covers up a good bit. Okay. There's so much I've been wanting to buy here lately to test out, and I just can't. And it's killing me. I want to try the Pat McGrath Labs foundation. I'm a foundation junkie. I really can't help it. But I'm not going to be buying any of those because I really don't need it. Unless I have some points to blow at Ulta or something like that, which I will soon. Then maybe I'll get like the Urban Decay one, but I just can't justify buying anything else right now. Sometimes you have to take a look at your priorities and, get them in check. And right now, makeup is at the bottom of that list, unfortunately. Maybe if I hit the lottery, I'll go on a splurge. I'm not holding my breath. Okay, so once we've got our foundation going, we need to pick out a concealer. And the concealer that kind of jumped out at me when I was looking through my drawer full of concealers is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define. I don't remember if I liked this one. I haven't used it in a while. Why do I feel like I didn't like this one? It looks like it's almost gone. I didn't use that much of this one. Holy cow. What's really going on? Was this thing like half full when I got it? I just didn't notice it? I feel like this one was compared to Tarte Shape Tape. I don't know if I really agree with that. I don't think it's as full coverage as the Shape Tape, and I don't think the consistency is the same. But that's what we're using today. Because when this first came out, there was a lot of hype around this. There was a lot of people raving about it, and you really don't hear anybody using it that much anymore. Although I'm sure a lot of people out there own this one. Summer's almost halfway over, and I've done nothing summery. I've done nothing outside. I haven't gone to the beach. I haven't gone to the lake. I haven't gone to the river. I haven't gone to anywhere. Literally nowhere. Sad. Sad story. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this Conceal and Define from Makeup Revolution. Yeah, I'm really not enjoying this Makeup Revolution concealer, which is why it's been sitting in my concealer drawer for months without getting used. It is just not my jam. Alright, so when we're getting into like setting powders and whatnot, I have quite a few that were hyped up just because, again, I'm a sucker. I buy what people are talking about. This is the Fenty Beauty, what is it called? The Pro Filter Instant Retouch Setting Powder. This one is in the shade Butter. I've heard so many different people talk about this one, and people are actually still talking about this. I'm just kind of... I just spilled it everywhere. Beautiful. There goes $10. This just kind of smooths everything for me, but it does that very well. Stuff is very finely milled. I don't know if my skin has ever looked so smooth before. I don't know if you guys can tell, but that powder got flakes in my hair. That's attractive. I'm really digging that powder. It really smoothed things out for me. So, hey, Fenty Beauty. I'm going to start using that more often. Okay, so moving on to the bronzer. So the bronzer I decided to choose for my collection was the Milani Silky Matte Bronzer. This one is in the shade Sunlight. This one is one that I heard, I think Raw Beauty Christy talked about this one. I want to say that Taylor talked about it. I know many more. I've heard a lot of people speak about this one. I know Kathleen Lights talked about it. I think she's the whole reason I bought this. But I don't really hear too many people talking about it anymore, so I wanted to use that in this video. This one is supposed to kind of like be a dupe for the Physicians Formula. It even smells like it. It just doesn't smell as good, in my opinion. I haven't used this one in a while. In all honesty, I don't know if I've come across too many powder bronzers that I don't like. They all pretty much serve their purpose as long as they're not like muddy or anything. I really wanted that Marc Jacobs Omega Bronzer a long time ago. That one's been out for quite a while, and it's pretty well known, pretty hyped up, but I cannot spend, what is it, like $50 for that bronzer? That's crazy. It's brown powder, for God's sake. Like, I can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. Alright, so when it came down to blush, this is one that Kathleen Lights was raving about. She usually went with Toasted Cinnamon, I think. If I'm wrong, correct me. But she also raved about Bare Peach. So, I really don't hear anybody talking about the Burt's Bees blushes anymore, except for maybe Kathleen occasionally. But this is one that got really, really, you know, hyped when it first came out, and then now it's kind of fizzled out. You don't really hear much about it anymore. So I think I do want to go with the Burt's Bees blush. Okay, okay, Bare Peach. Okay. I'm gonna have to revisit this some more, like during my regular makeup wear, because I really don't use it that much, and I think it's really pretty. It's got this sheen to it that I didn't realize it had until I was swatching it a little bit ago. And it's actually really beautiful. Like, it's almost shimmery. That's really odd. It doesn't look shimmery in the pan, but it does have a sheen. I really like it. I was going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy for my highlighter, just because this one is another one that, this is kind of like an iconic highlighter. This is one that's really well known. It's one that everybody was talking about at some point or another, but you really don't hear too many people talking about it, like, currently, or too many people using it currently. So, alrighty then, let's see what happens here. Holy Moses. Amrezy took over, and I couldn't control myself. It was looking so pretty everywhere. I've got like this major shine going on above my lip now. It's got my cheeks looking pretty textured, which I'm kind of used to because my skin is pretty textured, but this is why this one was so hyped up. It is such a good highlighter. I really do love it. I do use it like in my everyday makeup wear as well, so you just don't hear too many YouTubers talking about it anymore because there's just way too much coming out on a consistent basis. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to like eyebrows and eyeshadow. For the eyebrows, I really wanted to take it back to what I started with. When I really first got into makeup, my main products that I looked for my eyebrows was Anastasia Beverly Hills. That was all the rage, all the hype was the Brow Wiz. Now, more often than not, you hear people talking about cheaper alternatives when it comes to their eyebrows, and that's because the Brow Wiz costs like $21 or $22 or however much it is. That's insane for a brow pencil. It's insane when you can find a brow pencil that does exactly the same thing and costs literally a fraction of the price. So, we're going to use the Brow Wiz by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Look at that lip. That juicy golden goodness. Okay. I think the main reason I stopped using this pencil though is because it was making my brow hairs fall out. It's very aggressive. You really have to push down to get the product to come off, and it's very light. Maybe this isn't the right shade. Let me see if I have a darker shade, because this one is in soft brown and it's not, doesn't look like it's the correct shade. Alright, here we go. I also have medium brown, so let's try medium brown instead. I much prefer the Brow Gal over this one, to be honest. I really don't hear too many people talking about this anymore, and it's kind of crazy because this one was really hyped up. for a while. I mean, I'm sure people still use it, but it's just not like raved about like it was. There's just so many cheaper alternatives out there. Okay, so when I started to think about like eyeshadow and primer and all that stuff, there was like one particular product that really jumped out at me as being a product that was super hyped up and that really nobody talks about anymore or uses on their channel when they're doing, you know, like get ready with me videos or tutorials or whatever. The product that really jumped out at me was the P. Louise base. Now, this is one that I actually had to get like international shipping because it's a UK based brand, and it was that hyped up and that, you know, well known and highly regarded that I ordered it. It really didn't cost me that much. The base itself, I think, is like $10 for a tube, and this stuff will last you forever. You only need a very tiny bit when you use this, and it's supposed to be good for like blending pigments into and really getting the blend. That's what this product is like well known for. The issue I have with this one is that the staying power with your eyeshadow is not very long. Because it is a wet base, it's a tacky base, things do tend to move around a little bit like throughout the day. So this is the product I wanted to use for this video just because I haven't used this in forever. And I know at one point this was like all I was using. So let's give this a try. I'm nervous. I really would much rather have like a concealer set with a powder to use like as an eyeshadow base. Having a wet tacky base can make things a little bit tricky, and when you make a mistake, it's harder to kind of fix, in my opinion. It has been such a long time since I've used this base. Who knows, maybe I'll use it tonight and I will fall back in love with it, and you never know, right? It's not that I don't like it, it's just when I'm like getting ready for my day, I usually want something that's going to make my eyeshadow last all day. And this product does not do that. At least for me. I do have oily lids though, so that could have something to do with it. I just think it's crazy in the beauty industry how quick we forget about products and how quick we cycle through like these great, well-known products. Here today, gone tomorrow. It's insane. I had a really hard time with the eyeshadow palette because I have a lot. I have a lot of eyeshadows. And when I kept thinking about like what were we using at one point that everybody was using, everybody was raving about, and that nobody uses anymore. And when you really think about it, nobody's really using a lot of the palettes that were hyped up and talked about because there's eyeshadow palettes being released every single day, it feels like. So I wanted to try to think of something that the majority of people, like on YouTube at least, were raving about and that everyone just had to have and that, you know, we're not really hearing much about anymore. So the main palette that came to my mind when I thought about that was the James Charles and Morphe palette. I never even put a review up on my channel of this. I wanted to, but by the time it got to me and by the time I actually had time to like play with it and really figure out how to work with it, no one was talking about it anymore. Like, it was done. It was here and gone, like, in a week or two. It was crazy. So, I've only used this, like, twice. Maybe 3 times at most. And the reason why I don't use this is because on an everyday basis, when do you use really bright, bold colors like that? You kind of don't. That's kind of just done for fun. Alright, I gotta be honest with you, I'm not the best when it comes to like the colorful eyeshadows. I try, but it's just not my forte. It's not something that I'm super comfortable with, but I'm gonna attempt to do something that's a little bit like orangey and red, like fire. I don't know what I'm doing here, so be nice. It's gonna be interesting if nothing else. I'm gonna start with this really pretty bright orange shade. Tapping that in my crease area here. I think what I'm going to do is throw that really dark, bright red on the outer edges here and put something light in the middle. Okay, just being honest, there wasn't anything that I really saw in this palette that I wanted to put in the middle. For the center of the lid, I'm going to use Chocolate Gold from the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. It is such a pretty, shimmery gold shade, and you really don't hear anybody talking about this palette anymore either, and this is truly, in my opinion, the best eyeshadow palette that Too Faced has come out with. It was super hyped up for a while there, and I don't really hear anybody talking about it, so we're going to use that shade because the shimmers in this palette are to die for. They are so beautiful. So let's do that. Let's put this in the middle here. Alright, let's do the other eye off camera, and then we'll do the under eyes, and we'll get this video finished up. Okay, I'm going to close my eyes so you can kind of get a peek at what we're working with so far. This is where we're at with the eyes. That's what I've been able to make with the James Charles palette, and I've been using the Chocolate Gold palette for the shimmery shade right in the middle, which I stated earlier, and then on top of that I put some of the Stila Little White Lies in Yellowtails in the middle to kind of give it just an extra pop. I'm kind of waiting for this to dry because I don't want it to transfer everywhere. I'm not done yet though. I need to get underneath the eyes, and then I need to put some mascara on. The eye look will be complete. It's a little loud and crazy, but that's kind of what I was going for today, trying to revive the James Charles palette. Okay, so what I'm going to do for the inner corners, since I did get a little bit of red eyeshadow there and I don't think it's going to come off without a fight, I'm going to take the shade Pearl from the Violet Voss Rainbow palette. This is another palette that was like highly talked about and well known that you don't really hear about anymore. So let's use that too. Why not, right? Now, this is not an eye look that I would ever like wear out and about, or even one that I would come up with like instantly. This took me a lot of thought. I'm just not the creative type, honestly. So I think in order to like kind of pull the whole look together, I need to drag a little bit of that orange underneath my eye as well as some of the dark red. So I'm going to attempt to do that, and we'll see how this turns out here. This isn't my normal jam. I don't know what I'm doing. Honestly, I'm really surprised. Ooh. Oh, that was almost bad. I'm extremely surprised and happy with the way this palette performed. I didn't think it was going to be that easy to blend. I didn't think that the colors were going to show up as bright as they did. Here we are. I'm really happy with the pigmentation. The skills, that's another story, but that's not the eyeshadow's fault. Let's take the LA Girl white eyeliner, their gel liner. I'm going to put this on the waterline. That really makes that pop. This is what I love about makeup. It's just having fun and experimenting and being creative and colorful. And I love it a lot. It's my favorite. Ooh, so if we're thinking about mascaras, ones that were really hyped up and you don't really hear a whole lot of talk about anymore, I would have to say the Milk Kush Mascara. Now this is one that I actually use on a regular basis because it is amazing, and it's probably one of my very favorite. But when this first came out, so many people were talking about this, and you really just don't hear that many people raving about it anymore because there's probably been 800 mascara launches since this one came out. So I'm going to use this one for this video. When I first started getting like really into makeup, the one brand that really grabbed my attention when it came to lipstick was Anastasia Beverly Hills. Their liquid lipsticks were all the rage. Everybody was talking about it at that time. So I bought a few. Oh my goodness, look how glossy. Okay, so I just took that shade Vintage from Anastasia Beverly Hills, that really pretty shimmery gloss, and then I just mixed in a little bit of the Dose of Colors, what's this one called? On Repeat. This one's also one that was pretty, not the shade necessarily, but the gloss. This was pretty well talked about too, and I don't know if anybody's really wearing these anymore, but I really do like, I like both of the formulas. Alright guys, this is the finished look using all these products that I bought, and then got to thinking like, why did I buy these in the first place? And why are we not hearing about these products anymore? Because it's not that they're not good products, it's just that newer products have made their way into the industry. Like, we move on from products so quickly. Here today, gone tomorrow. Anastasia Beverly Hills, the Orangey highlighter. Like, this is an iconic highlighter, and we really don't hear too many people on YouTube that they're using it, you know, in their daily lives. We don't hear too many people talking about this anymore. The P. Louise base, like, this was a pretty revolutionary makeup product, and you really don't hear too many people talking about using this like in their everyday makeup routine anymore. The Milani bronzer, again, there were a lot of people talking about this one, and it's not a bad bronzer. I think it gave me a very nice, you know, bronzy glow. It gave me exactly what I was looking for, so it makes me want to use this even more in the future. I'm glad that I'm going back through my makeup products and retesting some of the stuff that I just haven't used in a while, because in all honesty, I have a lot of good products that are just sitting and waiting to be used. So there's going to be a lot more videos like this in the future where I'm kind of revisiting some of the products that I've purchased in the past. I've put myself on a very strict budget as of recently. As much as I would love to try out all these new releases, it's just reality, I just can't. So obviously I'm a very small channel, I don't get PR or anything like that. So anything that you see me using is stuff that I've purchased myself. It might be far and few in between when I am trying new products. So I apologize in advance if you do like those types of videos from me. I'm not going to have a whole lot of those going forward, at least for a little while. So we're just going to work through what I have. I'm going to start showing some love to all these products that I bought. I bought them because I really wanted them. So I hope you guys liked watching me come up with this makeup look. I thought it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed playing with this James Charles palette. In all honesty, I can't wait to play with it again. I don't know if I would go out in public like this per se, but it's fun just to doing for you guys, and, you know, to see if I can do it, trying to test my own makeup skill, I guess. So I'm glad that I ventured back into that palette. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm glad you came by my channel. If you liked my content, please make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way you're notified every time I upload a video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.